Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm bored, COVID baby bored, and today I'm doing a unboxing and overview of Teen Titans collectible card game. This is a definitely out of print TCG or CCG, and it was produced by Bandai. This was back in 2005, so that's right, I'm going back in time, guys. Going back in time, and I'm digging up trading card games and card games from the past. I've been finding it fun just to, especially if it's a theme that I really enjoy. And I love the Teen Titans. I actually enjoyed this version of the Teen Titans. I watched it when I was growing up. I think it was on YTV at the time, or the Cartoon Channel. And I really liked the balance of the artwork, the animation style, the characters. It was, I know there's a Teen Titans Go, and I've watched that too, and I enjoy it, but it's really, it's more cutesy. It's kind of like that Samurai Jack style, Powerpuff type characters. This version of Teen Titans, the animated series, was a bit more for the teen adolescent audience. Less cutesy, a little bit more dark, especially like the way they portray Slade. So I've been going into card games recently, and I came across this, and I thought, oh, I love Teen Titans. Didn't know that there was a collectible card game. Actually, I didn't know there was quite a few collectible card games in multiple themes that I enjoy. And I've been digging around to see if I can find cheap copies around. I got this really cheap off of eBay. It's a starter set, so it's not the full experience, but it's enough to get me in there and just to have a little bit of fun playing, learning the game, sort of a quick intro into it. It is a collectible card game, so at the time you could buy booster packs, you could buy booster boxes. Obviously, there's no longer in print because it's so old, but I like the artwork from this series, so I'm okay with that. And the idea was obviously to collect the cards, build up your team. They've got character cards, sort of field cards, event cards, skill cards that you can play. I think storyline cards is what they call them. And you're basically trying to defend your base or bases. You have 3, I guess they call them locations that you play in the field. And at the same time, you're managing to attack your opponent's bases or their locations. So it's kind of a different way of battling. You're not battling characters directly. You're sort of, the purpose is to try to not only defeat the characters of your opposing team, but try to capture or defeat the location of your opposing team. So there's a couple things that are ongoing. So let's see here. It says Teen Titans Go. When there's trouble, you know who to call. Ghostbusters. Teen Titans. Teen Titans, Robin, Cyborg, Starfire, Beast Boy, and Raven have dedicated their lives to fighting evil in all its forms, but their enemies are many, and chaos has broken loose. In the Teen Titans collectible card game, a mysterious force has taken over the cosmos, upsetting the world's natural balance. In the confusion, villains sometimes fight villains, and titans fight titans. So I guess you can mix and match. I think there is a rule where it does matter what team or affiliation you're with. So if you do happen to create sort of a mixed bag where you have Robin and Slade fighting on the same side, there are conditions in order to attack certain locations or fields that you have to be on the same team. I think one of the things, I'm not exactly sure, there's not a lot of videos or information for this card game, so it obviously did not do well. And I don't know how long it lasted for, probably maybe just 1 year. Looking at the rules, I kind of understand why. It is not the most streamlined way of playing things. There's a lot of steps involved. There's a lot of things to check before you can even battle. And that I can see it kind of slowing down or bogging down the gameplay. But ultimately, I wanted something Teen Titans, and this fit the bill. So each player must take control of a team of fighters in order to return peace and balance to the shattered universe. Players race to take control of the fields of battle, which is basically locations, defeat their opponents, and earn victory points. First player to amass 15 victory points or capture all 3 of their opponent's fields / location wins the game. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to crack this open first and take a look and see what's inside. Okay, so let's see here. Oh, they've got a sort of a tray to hold the cards, which is kind of nice. I know some card games, once you take it out, you basically need a deck box. And you've got, I think, a total of 66 cards in here. I think the starter kit comes with both a villain team and a hero team. Obviously, we've got Robin. And I think each side has 3 fields or 3 locations, and you have a deck of 30. Now, I think in the actual gameplay, because this is just a starter deck, I think the actual gameplay is that you have 50 cards in your deck. So you're short 20 cards, but again, this is a starter. This is just for fun. This isn't anything that I'm going to be bringing out to any type of competition. So here's the rule book. As I read the rule book online, it is a little scattered in terms of the way it's laid out, but it's not terrible. It's just not exactly the easiest to understand compared to some other card games. So it comes with 2 mats for play. Let me move this out of the way. And this will be something that I either laminate or I don't need once you know the areas. But you've got here your staging area. Sorry, let me see if I get this in view here. Okay, so you got a couple areas of your mat or your play area. You've got your action area. Action area is basically cards that you put down, any cards. There's no specific cards. As I understand it, cards that you put down to use as currency or to pay costs for certain cards to play. And those could be, I believe, either skill cards or storyline cards in this game. I'm not 100% sure, but I will find out. And then you've got your staging area, which is where you are able to play your characters. And they sort of live in this area until you assign them or move them into an area. So your opponent will have the same mat on the other side like this. And you'll have the field area, so 6 areas for field slots. The mats kind of connect together. So you will have your 3 fields or 3 locations in your field area, and your opponent will have 3 fields. And those are the locations that your characters can move to and from. And as I understand it, on your turn, movement is singular and once per character per turn. So if you have a character in your staging area, as one action you can move them into a field, any field, either your field or your opponent's field, depending on if you are attacking or defending. And you can move them out from locations into other locations, but it is a 2-step move. So if you already have a character in the field or at one location and you want to move them next door or to your opponents, it's not a single move. You have to move them into the staging area and then on the next turn move them into the location. So I think that's one of the things that maybe I could foresee slowing things down, kind of bogging down the gameplay. It would be nice if you just move from one location to the other, but at the same time, it has to create some type of strategy. How are you moving your characters? Who do you want to move when? Who are you keeping in the staging area as a just-in-case backup? I like this artwork. I like this look of Slade and Robin. It'd be nice if it was Red X. Then you've got your deck and your trash. So very straightforward. Doesn't seem like a lot in terms of managing your area. And it's a decent mat. Oh, it's double-sided too. Oh, I like that. Ooh, double-sided. So I guess if you're the villain, you're this. If you're the heroes, Robin's team, you're on this side. If you're Slade's team, you can use the other side. So I like that. That's pretty neat. Even though they give you a second one. So, but I think once I understand gameplay, just like all the other TCGs that have sort of zones in different areas, you can just memorize it. It's not that difficult. Okay, so we'll put that away. rule books here, and our cards. It looks like this one's Robin with a little bit of foiling, and it says on the box that you get 2 cards with foils. Hooray! And I'm sure if there were boosters available, there would probably be more incentive to buy them just for the cards that have foil treatment or hollows. These cards are from Bandai, so hopefully, as my experience I have with Dragon Ball Super, that's my only other Bandai card game. Hopefully the cards it's okay. It's okay. It's better than Panini, but not as good as Dragon Ball Super. Dragon Ball Super I found was their card stock was really good. So it's not terrible. It's okay. It's a little bit of a gloss onto them, so they're a little bit slippery, but that's okay. I'll probably be sleeving these. You got your 2 main characters for leading their team. The Titans with Robin and Slade and Slade's army. And I think there is several items here on the, and I believe several items of to note on the cards. And you've got, I think it's split between the 2 storylines, fields, and characters. Okay, so Slade's deck is over here. Robin's deck is over here. So it's no particular markings on their cards to tell you. It's just you get first characters, then your skills, then your fields, and then it goes straight back to the characters, which was Slade. And it makes sense. Cinderblock, come on, he's not a hero. Come on. So let's see. So let's start off with the character cards here. Let's take a look at them. We're going to take a look at Robin. So Robin has a few pieces of information. It does show him as a character, and you will have multiple characters. Let's just quickly look at that. We got Aqualad, a few copies, Beast Boy, Blackfire, Cyborg, Raven, another Robin, and I think you can't play 2 different Robins. I think there's a uniqueness to them, and you can't have 2 Aqualads. There's a uniqueness. So you can have them in your hand, but you can't play 2 Aqualads, because I think that's the rule. I think there's a uniqueness. But if there's like a drone or something like that, it'll tell you that you can play an infinite number of them. So that'd probably be Slade's army or something like that. We got Starfire. We've got our skill cards, which are, I guess, abilities or one-time effects that take place, provided that you can pay a cost, I believe, for them. And I'm not sure. Requirement agility, there's a few requirements on here. Requirement energy. So I'm not 100% sure. I have to go through a playthrough to totally understand this. And then you have storyline cards, which I think also are things that you can play during your combat to help augment or provide some benefit. And then you've got your 3 field cards, or your city locations, or your locations in general. Pizza Shop, City Streets, and Titan's Tower. And these would be the 3 in your player's control that you are defending and your opponents would be attacking. And I think one of the interesting concepts of this game is during your turn, you are actually playing a lot of cards face down. So I believe your field cards actually start face down. The moment that they are flipped up, they remain flipped up. And I believe it's the same with your characters. You would play your characters face down and move them. The moment they are revealed, usually during a combat, they stay face up. So I have to go through some of the clarifications for those rules, but I believe when I did a cursory look at it, I believe that was how it was. And they are, so that's kind of interesting. You're kind of doing a little bit of bluff work. You're trying to, I guess, anticipate what your opponent might play, and you really don't know what's going to happen until all the cards are up, and therefore you may have to alter your strategy, or your whatever strategy you had may be countered. You don't know. So I think that's kind of interesting. I think that's the one mechanic of this game that I thought was interesting. It reminds me of something that I also picked up recently was Exceed, the Street Fighter version, and I'm going to do a video on that as well. I just downloaded the demo deck to play, and I print the print and play. So I just wanted to know if it's something that I would want to get, and I actually think I do. And it's the same way. You play your strikes face down, and it's kind of like almost like rock, paper, scissors. You don't know what your opponent's going to do until it is finally revealed, and you're hoping that you can strike first in that game. So I'm going to see how this goes in terms of the mechanics for Teen Titans. But on the cards, you've got a title, which is a character, the name, and some flavor text. You've got attributes and a special ability. You have a power, which I believe that when you're doing attacks, you are comparing the total power. So you'll be sending characters to a location, and I believe players take turns being the attacker or on the offense, and then the other player is on defense, and then you would rotate those turns. And during combat, you'd be comparing the total power of your team at a particular field or location and comparing that with the total power of whoever's defending that location. And the highest power wins. And you would then, as the victor, you'd collect whatever characters were defending, and you would be earning victory points based on this number at the top right, which is called their grade. Their grade is a value. I'm not sure what the highest grade is. So we have 2, 3, 1, and that's it. I don't see anything higher. Oh, Slade is pretty high. He's a grade 4. So grade makes a difference in the sense that you have to, when you are assigning a character to a location or a field, the field will have a number, a limit. So this number here, I don't know if you can see that, this number right there, 3 for the Teen Titans, the Titans Tower, sorry. That field represents, or sorry, that field's limit represents the total grade that can be of a team that can be present at this location. So I think that's one of the confusing parts when people are reading. So for example, Slade, he is a grade 4. He cannot be at this location. He cannot actually enter Titan's Tower to attack because his grade of 4 is higher than the limit of the field. But Cinderblock, who is a grade of 3, he can be there, but only him. You can't have another person to help him out. Say, for example, who else is in here? Lightning. He couldn't go because he's a grade of 2, and 2 plus 3 is 5, which is higher than the limit. But you could have, let's see, this Slade. I don't know what the point of this Slade is then. But let's just say you can have this Slade with Slade's Commando. And Slade's Commando, I believe, is infinite. So there's a marking down here. So it's a commando, it's one of those, it's a grunt, it's a minion, and it says infinite, which means that you can have any number of Slade's commandos on your staging area, but you can only have 1 lightning because he does not have infinite. So you can have 3 Slade commandos at the Titans Tower. So I guess that's where this limit on the field takes place. So when you are sending characters to certain fields, you have to be aware of that. Now, because these fields are typically face down at the beginning of the turn, you would be sending characters to these fields not knowing, first of all, what field it is and not knowing what limit it is. So your character may not even be able to stay in this field, and they would be sent back. Anyone that can stay there. For the defender, if the defender should know what fields they have that they've played. And at any time, as I understand, for the characters who control their cards, while they're face down, at any time they are allowed to peek to confirm what they have. They obviously don't the opponent player cannot do that except for their own cards. So if this was, say this wasn't Titan Tower, let's go with, what's Slade's field? So let's say I have the Cook's Electronic Store. So I've got that in the field. That's Slade's field, his location. And let's say I've played this Slade, who has a grade 4, into my staging area, and I am moving him into this field. As it is my field, I should know which one this is, and if anything, I should just double check. Oh yeah, it has a limit of 2. So I shouldn't be assigning Slade to this location because I already know he won't be able to stay there. He won't be able to meet the grade check. So if I do that, let's just say I do that and we reveal who's there, and let's say Robin's there on the other side. So Robin can stay. Robin can't even stay because he's not there, but let's just say we get, let's go Beast Boy. So we assigned Beast Boy to Cook's Electronic Store, and we did, like, we revealed, everything shows up on the board. Now they stay face up, and right now what happens? Beast Boy's okay. He can stay in this field. Slade cannot, and as the defender, if it's the defender's turn and Slade is being the defender, he has to be removed and go back into the staging area, which means Beast Boy is all by himself to do some damage because he has no one to defend him. And when he does that, he actually damages the field. And you can, if you have no one defending you and you have a successful attack, then the field itself would take damage. And damage was represented by a top card of your deck to indicate. Once a field gets, I believe, 4 damage, it becomes the opponent's victory point, which counts as the limit number. So I think a playthrough would make the most sense, but that's as far as I understand how this game works. And it's different. Like all TCGs, there's always something just a little bit different. And this was different enough to say, hey, I like Teen Titans. It sounds interesting. Don't know how it's going to play out, but I'll give it a shot and see how it goes. So that is grade. And you'll also see that Aqualad here has a affiliation, which is underwater. And you'll see, for example, Beast Boy has Teen Titans as his affiliation. He has a grade 2. He has attributes, and he has a power. He has no abilities. So what this also means is when you are assigning characters to a field, I don't know why they call it field, I'm going to call it location. When you assign a character from your team to a location, so let's just say I don't know what this location is, I've played my 2 characters down, I'm assigning them here, and we reveal. So when we reveal, everything stays face up. So let's just say we ignore the limit of 3, because right now we have a total grade check of 5, and the limit is 3. So only one of these characters would be able to stay at Titan's Tower. But let's just say we both have them there. There's another check that you have to do, which is a team check. And the team is whatever affiliation. They have to be on the same team. They have to be affiliated with each other. So Aqualad technically is a Teen Titan, but they have given him the affiliation of underwater. So therefore, they can't be at this location together, even if they were allowed to. So even if the limit of Titan's Tower was, say, 6, and I could have these 2 characters there, I can't because it fails the team check. So it passes the grade check, but it fails the team check, so I have to choose. One goes back in the staging area or back in the character field, and the other character I assign can stay there. So that is one of the things that I think, again, kind of slows down the gameplay. You're constantly having to check the limit, check the grade, and then I have to check to make sure my team affiliation is working. But I shouldn't be sending it in the first place. I should already know. I've got Beast Boy, I've got Aqualad. They're not from the same team, so why on earth would I be sending it there anyways? I'd only be sending him and maybe Robin if I can. So I don't understand the concept of a team check. They can just say, don't send characters to a field that are not of the same team. That's a simple rule. So okay, so I think that's pretty much it. We've got the skills, and I think we had the storyline. Storyline cards have a cost, so I think these are the only cards that have a cost. So I was mistaken. Skill cards do not have a cost, unless it specifically says so. I'm not exactly sure what the skills for that little bar up here, what that represents. I think this may represent the amount of power that you add to your total attack when you play this card. I think that's what it means. So it will have a power meter. It's a chart indicating how much additional power can be added to your character card and the action cost that must be paid. Okay, so there we go. So in this situation, I have a punch skills card, and for 0 cost, I get an extra 100 to my total power of whatever characters I have at a field. If I pay a cost, an action cost of 1, so action costs were the cards that you assign to use for paying for items, and it can be any card at the beginning of your turn. I can pay 1 of those action costs to gain 200 power. So that's where that comes into place. And for the storyline cards, they are usually one-time effects that you can play. So it costs 2 action costs or action points, and it is called the fix it. It says draw phase. So during the draw phase, so this, I guess, a storyline can be played when you have the condition that it meets. So you wouldn't be playing this during a combat phase or an attack phase or a defense phase. You'd be playing this during a draw phase. And it says, after drawing cards, retrieve a character card of your choice from the trash to your hand. Another storyline card is a cost of 3, which you can play during the battle phase. So you pay 3 action costs and you can play this card during the battle phase. So it is phase dependent, and you pay the cost, you follow and resolve the text, and that's it. And some of the fields have effects too. So the field, in addition to its limit for grade checks, we have a field effect. Each Teen Titan character gets plus 100 power. Makes sense. You're a Teen Titan. You're in your home. You're defending your home base. You should gain 100 power. Sure, why not? You don't want to make it too easy for the bad guys. So far, based on what I'm looking at, I'm interested. I'm happy that I got it, and it wasn't expensive. So if you might find this, I highly doubt it, but you might find this at some of your local game stores. Maybe they have leftover stock, old inventory that they want to clear out, and maybe they want to get rid of it. So boosters and booster boxes may be a little harder to come by because I don't know how much was printed during the time that this was active. But the starter deck, I think it's good enough for me. So my next video, once I learn it, I'm going to go ahead and do a playthrough. And as far as I can tell, I didn't see a lot of playthrough videos online. Again, this is almost 2 decades old, so I wouldn't expect there to be a lot. But hey, this could be the video that resurrects this game and sends a message to Bandai to say, hey, look, just improve some of your rule sets, but bring it back, because you could easily go with Teen Titans Go. That is a very popular kids show right now too, and streamline the rules a bit, and I think it could be a big win. So I will be back with a new video, but thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Until next time, stay bored.